female pelvis and fetal skull. First, we will see some of the important points regarding pelvis. Parts of pelvis. There are three parts: inlet, cavity, and outlet. Here I am not going to mention about the different bones, etc. We'll see the different parts. You can see a pelvis here. The view is from above, or the superior view. Now you can see the starting point, this area. Starting point, this area, the superior area, that is the inlet, and the middle area, it is the cavity, and the last area, it's the outlet. So if you can think that this is like a hole, the starting area of this hole is the inlet, and the middle area is cavity, and the last area is outlet. Here we are not going to mention about the different bones and other joints presented in the pelvis, because we will discuss about these things when we will discuss the anatomy of pelvis in the anatomy area. Second important thing is regarding diameters. There are different diameters you can see in a pelvis, and these diameters are important as a health professional or as a midwife, because these diameters are related to the delivery. When the fetus is coming through this way, this diameter is having some importance. Let's see some of the diameters. If here you can see the female pelvis, and we can see different diameters. Anterior, posterior. Anterior, posterior means this is the anterior. See, if this is the pelvis, from the front side to back side, anterior, posterior. Simple. Oblique. Oblique means from one corner to another corner. See, this is a right to left, so right oblique. This is left to right, so left oblique. Symbol. Anterior, posterior means this is the diameter from the anterior side to posterior side. The diameter is anterior, posterior, and this is the oblique from one corner to other corner. And transverse means from the middle of the one side to the other middle of the other side. See, transverse, oblique, and anterior. Actually, this anterior to mention this anterior posterior diameter. Actually, there are some anatomical points, but we are not here discuss all those things. But it is little bit confusing, and in the exam purpose, it is not that much important. So that's why I am just giving you an idea what is anterior, posterior, what is oblique, and transverse. And here we can see the anterior, posterior, oblique, and transverse diameters. These diameters, like I told here, the diameters, anterior, posterior, transverse, and oblique diameters are different at different area. If you go and see the inlet, if you check the inlet, and at the inlet, inlet is the starting point of that pelvis, the starting point. In that inlet, if you check the anterior, posterior diameter, means if you measure from the anterior side to posterior side, you can see 11 centimeter. And oblique means I told you from one corner to another corner, it is 12, and transverse it will be 13. But when it comes to cavity, if the middle side of that, if the middle side after inlet, the cavity is coming, the middle side, if you check there, you can see the anterior posterior diameter is 12, and oblique also 12, and transverse also 12. So in the cavity, almost all the diameters are same. But in the outlet, the last area, if you check the anterior posterior diameter is 30, then the oblique is 12, and transverse is 11. So the diameters, I will explain again. There are different diameters. One is anterior, posterior, means front to back, then oblique, then transverse. Here I told about the inlet. Inlet, otherwise called the brim. Inlet is the starting point. Here when a baby comes, it will first go through inlet, then it will go through cavity, then it will through outlet, it will go outside. So this is the three parts. We discuss about the diameters, then we discuss about the different diameters of anterior, posterior, oblique and transverse in inlet, cavity and outlet. It's very easy to remember. If you can easy to remember this table, if you write inlet, cavity, outlet and anterior, posterior, oblique, transverse. See here 11, 12, 13. Here 12, 12, 12. Here opposite 13 to 12 and 11. If you can remember this box easily, if you can write or you write the answer. Sometimes question may ask which is the largest diameter. It is 13 in the transverse, in the inlet area. Also in the outlet area, in the outlet area, the anterior, posterior 13 also largest point. Then everywhere the cavity, the diameters are same. Everywhere in the cavity, the diameters are same. So these are the some of the diameters. Then we can see different types of pelvis. The pelvis are having different types according to its shape of the bone, etc. We can classify it is, first one is gynecoid. 50% of the pelvis is gynecoid type. Here you can see the gynecoid type. See, in the gynecoid, the shape is a round shape. The shape is a round shape, and it is 50% of the female pelvis are gynecoid type. Second is android type. It is otherwise called male type. Android type or male type. 20% of the female pelvis are like android type or male type. You can see it is the android type. The shape is like a heart shape. You can see the shape is like a heart shape. And the third one is a platypelloid. See, this is the platypelloid. 5% pelvis coming in this category, platypelloid, and it is kidney shaped. The shape is kidney shaped. And the last one is arthropoid. This is oval shaped and it is 25%. Actually, the female pelvis or the best type of pelvis for the favoring birth or for the birth is gynecoid. This gynecoid pelvis is good for the birth. The other android and platypelloid, it will create some problem in the birth. Sometime may need cesarean, etc. So this is the different type of pelvis. Now we will discuss about fetal skull. In fetal skull, you can see different bones. The first one is frontal bone. Now you are seeing here a lateral view, side view, so you cannot see all the bones, but from the side we can explain. You can see frontal bone. See, this is the frontal bone. This is one frontal bone. Same on the other side of the skull, you can see the same. So two bone. Here one bone, on the other side another bone. So two frontal bone you can see. Then two parietal bone. Don't see other things which is mentioned here. Just focus what I am telling. Parietal bone. This is the one parietal bone. On the other side also there is a bone, that is second bone. So two frontal bone, two parietal bone, and two temporal bone. See here temporal bone. One bone is there and the other bone is on the other side. And one occipital bone. This is the last bone, that is called occipital bone. So in fetal skull you can see two frontal bone, two parietal bone, and two temporal bone, and one occipital bone. When you attend this class, it's good if you can note the points so that it will not be confusing. Otherwise, if you are not taking notes or something, it will be confusing later. So if you note the point, it will be easy for you to study. Then different sutures and fontanelle. What is sutures? See, sutures are the space between two bones. Space between two bones is called sutures. See, this is one bone, and this is the other bone. Okay, this is one bone and this is the other bone. So between these two bones you can see a space. This is called sutures. Okay, so what is this sutures? The first one is a frontal sutures. See here, this is a frontal bone. Okay, this is the front side, this is the back side. Okay, this is a frontal bone, this is a frontal bone. So between these two you can see one suture, one space you can see, not this one. You can see one space here. This is called frontal suture. Here it is mentioned as metopic suture, but usually call it as frontal sutures. Okay, frontal sutures between two frontal bone. This is one frontal bone, this is another frontal bone. So between these two frontal bone you can see a space. It is called frontal sutures. The other thing it is coming is coronal sutures. Coronal sutures means it is between the frontal bone. See, this is a frontal bone, this is the parietal bone, frontal bone and parietal bone. Between frontal bone and parietal bone you can see a suture which is called coronal suture. Here also you can see same coronal suture. Okay, so here also you can see coronal suture. Then it is coming sagittal suture. Sagittal suture means, see, two parietal bone. This is a parietal bone, this is a parietal bone. Parietal bone and another parietal bone. Between these two bone you can see a suture that is called sagittal suture. Sagittal suture. And the last one you can see here, lambdoid suture. Lambdoid suture means, what is this? This is occipital bone. Occipital bone. This is occipital bone. So between occipital bone and between occipital bone and two parietal bone, here you can see one suture. This is called lambdoid suture. This is called lambdoid suture. This is called sagittal suture. This is called coronal suture. This is called frontal sutures. So it is very important. So kindly note this point, because for exam it will ask, what is the suture between two parietal bone and occipital bone? It is lambdoid. What is the suture between two frontal bone? It is frontal suture. So these type of questions may come for the exam. But so what I suggest you, take a note, make a note and attend this class. So it will be very easy. So we discussed about the sutures. Next we will go to fontanelle. What is fontanelle? Fontanelle means it is the area where sutures meet. Okay, it is the area where sutures meet. See, here you can see anterior fontanelle. Here you can see anterior fontanelle, because here different sutures are coming and meeting. See, what are the sutures coming and meeting here? From here fontanelle sutures coming. From here coronal sutures coming, coronal suture. From here sagittal suture. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, all these sutures are meeting this area. This area is called anterior fontanelle. Anterior fontanelle. Otherwise it is called as brecma. It is not mentioned here. Otherwise it is called as brecma. So the space or the area where all sutures are meeting together, it is called fontanelle. This is anterior fontanelle or brecma. So what are the sutures meeting here? Sagittal suture, coronal suture, fontanelle suture. These are the sutures meeting here. This is called anterior fontanelle. It is otherwise called as brecma. Usually this suture, it is diamond in shape. Okay, you can see here the shape of the anterior fontanelle is diamond in shape, and this will close by 18 months of age. When the child will become 18 months, that time only this anterior fontanelle will close. Next come to posterior fontanelle or lambda. The back side. Okay, back side you can see this area, posterior fontanelle. Posterior fontanelle, otherwise called as lambda. It is not mentioned here. Posterior, just remember, posterior fontanelle, otherwise called as lambda. In lambda, you can see it is formed by, which are the sutures? It is formed by lambdoid sutures. Here it is lambdoid suture. Here you can see lambdoid suture and sagittal suture also coming from here. So lambdoid suture. Here also you can see it is triangle in shape. And this posterior fontanelle will close around 6 weeks, 1.5 months, 6 weeks, or sometimes it will take 2 months, 6 weeks. So this will close at 1.5 months or 6 weeks. It will close at 1.5 year or 18 months. So these are the two fontanelle, anterior fontanelle and posterior frontal. Next we can see the areas. Areas means the entire skull we can divide into different area. First one is vertex. Vertex from where? From vertex you can see from brecma. Brecma means what? Brecma I told it is anterior frontal. The other name of brecma is anterior frontal. So from anterior frontal to lambda or posterior frontal, it is called vertex. It is called so this area is called vertex. This area is called vertex. Okay, this area is called vertex. Then a brow means it is from the anterior frontal or brecma. The other name of anterior frontal is brecma. From brecma or anterior frontal to the root of the nose. So this area is called a brow. And the third one is face. Face will start from the root of the nose to chin. So this area is called as from here, root of the nose to chin, it is called face. From root of the nose to this area, anterior frontal or brecma, it is called brow. And from anterior frontal to lambda or posterior frontal, it is called vertex. So these are the three areas. This is very important, anterior posterior diameter. So here you can see a fetal skull. Now we are going to draw from front to back, anterior posterior, front to back, or we are going to measure from the front side to back side. Sometime I will take from here to here, from here to here. So different measurement I will take. Why this diameter is important means when the head of the baby comes into pelvis, this diameter is very important. This diameter, because when the angle of the head of the baby is changing, the diameter also changing. Okay, the diameter also changing, because if when the baby flex or extend its head, the diameter will be different. Okay, leave it. Just understand the diameters for exam purpose. So when you see all this picture, you will be confusing by seeing these pictures. We will explain everything easily. So you all know about the different bones. You all know all sutures, etc. Okay, first one is, we can see the diameter. First one is suboccipitobrecmatic. Please focus here. Suboccipitobrecmatic. So where is suboccipitobrecmatic? This is the occipital bone. Suboccipito means below occiput. Below occipital bone. Below occiput. So from here, suboccipito means below occiput. From here to brecmatic. Where is brecmatic? Brecma. Here, this is the brecma. Okay, so this area is known as, or this diameter is called as suboccipitobrecmatic. It is 9.5 centimeter. The next is suboccipitofrontal. Where is suboccipito? This is the occipital bone. Below occipito means suboccipito. From suboccipito to frontal bone. This is the frontal bone. This is suboccipitofrontal diameter, which is 10.5 centimeter. Then occipitofrontal. So this is the occipital bone. From occiput to, we are going to the frontal bone. Occipitofrontal, which is 11.5 centimeter. Then mendovertical. So this is mendovertical. Mendo means chin. The other name of mendo is chin. From chin to vertical. Vertical means vertex. Okay, so this is the vertex. So we are going from mendo. Mendo means chin. Mendo to vertical, which is 13.75 to 14 centimeter, which is the largest diameter. Then you can see submendobrecmatic. Submendo. Where is submendo? This is the mendum. Submendo means below the mendum. This is the mendum. This is the mendum below the mendum. Submendobrecmatic. from here to Brakma. Brakma is here. Brakma otherwise known as anterior frontal line. Submendobrachmatic, which is 9.5 centimeter. Then submendovertical. Submendovertical. This is submendo. This is mendum. So this is submendo. Submendum to vertical. Vertical where is this is the vertex. So this is the vertical. Submendovertical, which is 11.5 centimeter. So kindly see and make a note, and if you are not understanding or if it is going fast, kindly pause the video and understand it, and watch the video and again so that you will understand the different diameters. Next you can see the transverse diameter. Transverse diameter, here we check from front to back, so you can check from side to side, that is transverse diameter. Here first anterior posterior means from front side of the skull to back side of the skull. Transverse means from one side of the skull to the other side of the skull, side to side. The biparietal diameter, it is 9.5 centimeter, means between two parietal bone. The diameter from one parietal bone to other parietal bone, that is 9.5 centimeter. Then bitemporal diameter means between two temporal bone. Bitemporal diameter, it is 8 centimeter. So all these diameters are important. Questions may ask what is the bitemporal diameter, what is submendobrachmatic diameter, what is suboccipital frontal diameter, which is the largest diameter in the fetal skull. All these questions will come. So just understand, just study that or by heart these centimeters, and if you can understand the concept, it will be very easy. Thank you.